Ruth McCrackin and Trasetta Washington, two top-notch career and business strategists, are here to help you defy standards and break boundaries. Join them as they share powerful insights that have already impacted thousands of people and will have a major impact on your career, life balance, and business.
Great day, great day. Welcome. Hey, Trasetta girl, how are you doing?
I am
Welcome.
doing good. I'm doing good. It's good to see you as always.
Indeed, indeed. Welcome, everyone. If you are streaming live with us and you are here, let's go ahead and chime in. Let us know where you're coming from. Please go ahead and grab your notepads, your digital devices that you may use to reference notes, because we're going to kick it off right off the bat, because here at Breaking Boundaries, listen, it's been a phenomenal ride. This is the last Friday of quarter three. And then
Yep.
we're going to, next couple of days, guess what? We're about to launch into or kick off into quarter four. That means we only got 3 more months, y'all. 3 more months before 2023 becomes a year of the past. I don't know if you all are prepared for this, but we
I'm not
want to
prepared.
listen.
It came fast.
We were just talking about it behind the scenes. Let us know in the comments that you all are feeling the same way when it comes to that. Listen, where has this year fly by? You may want to go back and reflect on your planner and say, have you checked off everything, and maybe checked it off twice and seeing that
Yes.
you're still in the alignment of what you're looking to pursue before you close out this chapter in your 2023 journey. With that being said, I want you all to know that we're going to be unfolding the last part of the Unleashing Brilliance. We're going to talk about the power of self-care and prioritizing well-being in the pursuit of whatever that is that you may be doing. But right now, we want to share with you in the pursuit of brilliance is what we're prefacing. And we want to go ahead and share some updates. Trasetta, tell them what we want them to be able to stay tuned in, because I
Yes.
know that we got so much treats for you all, and I'm just super elated and excited at the same time. And I don't know about you all, but we definitely want to make sure that you are up to date of what's going on. Let them know what's going on.
First and foremost, so we were just talking about how the quarter is ending tomorrow
Yes,
and we
right?
are stepping into the final quarter of 2023. And if you have not achieved your goals for the year, listen, there's still time. You still have time. It just,
Right.
you've got to
Exactly.
be intentional and make sure that you have a plan to achieve what you want to achieve. And speaking of goal setting and achieving things, tomorrow, we're so excited. Tomorrow,
Yes.
I'm going to be in Tampa with Ruth. We're
Yes, you're
doing our
traveling. Yes, you're
lightest.
traveling. Yeah.
Yes, as soon as we're done with this, I'm going to be getting on the road to head down to Tampa so that we can be with you all tomorrow for the Balance and Brilliance workshop. There are still just a few seats remaining, so the link will be in the comments below. Ruth, did you put
Yeah,
in
it's
the
already here.
comments or
You
is
may
it
want to go
okay?
ahead and grab it now, because I don't know. I don't want y'all to be hesitant or on the fence, because we
Right.
want to be able to sit in the room with you all. We check you out in the comments. Some of you all already been part of our tribe and our community where you get to work with us behind the scene. But guess what? You get to meet us face to face. Wouldn't that be worth it to you
Absolutely.
all? I would love to see you in the room. You do not want to miss out. Tomorrow is going to be the day that we want to be able to actually do a workshop, a live
Yes.
workshop,
And see
right?
you all in person, right? Get to see you all in person. And you can experience our own brilliance as we share with you how you can
Yes, yes.
really be clear in creating your career goals and doing that with balance, right? Without sacrificing your self-care, which is why we're talking about what we're talking about today. And why
Come
we're going to
on.
be, we're going to be talking a little bit about self-care today and how you can really prioritize that. But we're going to go much deeper into that at the workshop on Saturday. So if you're in the Tampa or surrounding areas and you can get there, go ahead, head over to the link in the comments and grab your seat now, because there are still just a few remaining seats. Also, we want to remind you to go and support our LinkedIn page for the podcast, where we have a goal to get to 150 followers over there
Yes.
so that we can start doing these live streams right there so that we can always be easy for you to always find our episodes here on LinkedIn. Or if you catch us later, or you're looking for a particular episode and you're having difficulties finding us, we've got one more place that you can really easily find the episode you're looking for. Head over to our YouTube channel, the Breaking Boundaries Podcast, and subscribe over there. Hit that notification button so that you can see when new videos go live over there. So those are all of
Yes,
our
and
announcements.
yes.
And I'm super excited about tomorrow. And I really
I
hope
am
that
too.
we
I'm
see
so
you in
ever
the room.
grateful. Listen, it's been a long time coming. We know we've been planning it, and
Yes.
now it's coming to pass. It's going to be an intimate setting, and we may not do this again. I don't see it being in an intimate setting no time soon, at least for sure. And the fact that we're doing this and we're wanting you all to be part of it, we have people coming from even different area codes within Florida. So I don't want you to feel limited because you may be in North Florida or you
Yes.
may be in South Florida. Listen, make it to where you can make it in the room because it's something about being in the room, right?
It
It's just something
is.
about
It's
being
so
in
life
partaking.
changing. It's
Absolutely.
so life changing.
I can agree with you more. And you probably wonder who are these light beings? Listen, our profiles tell it best. Let us know that you are following us. Go ahead and subscribe to our profiles. But we want to, I'm eager to jump right on in because we were talking
Wait, before we
about,
jump in, I have to
yeah,
say something about being in the room, right?
yes, let's
Um,
go.
I don't remember if we've talked about this before, but very quickly, Ruth and I initially connected via a Facebook group for our business coach. And we would
Yeah,
communicate there and message and start exchange numbers and whatnot. But our relationship really solidified and began to blossom when we were both in attendance at her in-person conference, and we got to see each other live in person, face to face,
yes.
and got to hug each other and break bread together and spend time with one another.
Oh my
So
gosh.
you never
Memories. You're bringing
know.
so much memories.
Right?
I
You
love
just
it.
never know. You never
Yes.
know. Your next job opportunity could be in the room. Your
Come
next
on. Let's
collaboration
go.
could be in the room.
Yes.
Your next best lifelong friend could be in the
Could
room.
be in a
So
room.
you never know what could be in the room for you. So
Yes,
get off the
absolutely.
fence if you're on the fence and grab that ticket. We kept the ticket prices really, really low to
I
make it
mean, dirt
easy,
low.
right? We just
Yes.
honestly, let's just be real. The only reason why we even charged um for the event was because we would have done it for free. We wanted to at least cover the cost of the event space. That's literally the only reason why we charged the
Really,
little
because
amount
it's
that we did.
mainly just for us to come together in
Yes,
a
that's it.
unit so that you all can close out 20 the third quarter in a bang and then enter into a new season, a new chapter
Yeah,
before we go into 2024. We
we
want to be
wanted to serve
strategically
you.
clear. Yeah, we wanted to serve you all. It is, and we're going to talk about that when we jump right on. You ready to jump on? I think it's a perfect
Yes,
time to
let's
jump
dive
on
in.
in. Let's go ahead and dive in because it's going to the power of self-care and prioritizing the ways you want to be able to understand this role. Let's talk about how to really understand it because it's been kind of radiating all over the platforms, and you may
Mhm.
see it in different spas and maybe reading bookstores. But let's define it for what it really, really means in
Yes.
terms of what is self care and its significance, and how does it even play a role when it comes to you as an individual. Where for me, I get it. If you're working 40 hours a week, and you're by the time you even turn off your phone and go and get ready for your evening affair, whether it be with your family, whether it be with your partner, or any furry animals for those who have furry um, additional family members, the thing you want to ask yourself is how are you defining it? I do believe defining self-care can be something that you can prioritize and describe for yourself. Yeah, it's anything that you do to care for self, because now
Right.
you're moving anything that's outside of you and putting them temporarily in their own category, or temporarily just putting them physically in a different timeline. Right now,
Yeah.
it's more focusing on your benefits of your mental, not just your physical or the cosmetic piece of your physical, but more so you want to get into what exactly does that mean? Is it getting enough sleep, getting more eating alignment with your eating habits, maybe going for a walk? maybe just silencing all the noise in your head, where you want to do a meditation for 10 minutes or so, or maybe getting more H2O to be part of your day to day. Maybe don't find yourself drinking it so much. Now you want to be intentional about, let me do a grocery list. Maybe your self care is going to a Whole Food and just reprioritizing your pantry
Yeah.
and being focusing on that. What else can we determine? What would be, let us know in the comments what you may find to be beneficial as well when you think about the word or the statement self care,
Yeah.
right?
I think for me, the key word when you start talking about defining what self-care is, I think the
Yes.
key word that we need to hone in on is it's the intentionality, right? It's
Mm,
intentional. It's doing activities or resting or relaxing from a space of intentionality, right? Sometimes we do mindless, you know, TV watching, or we do mindless activities and we call that self-care, but it just happened that way, right? You just came home, plopped on the TV, plopped on the couch, turned on the TV and watched Netflix for 2 or 3 hours. And you're like, oh, that was my self-care, but it wasn't
right?
intentional,
It
right?
was no, what's the
It
intention
can
behind
be,
that?
right? It can be self-care, but it doesn't necessarily mean every time you sit in front of the TV, it's self-care. It's the intentionality behind it. It is you
Oh,
recognizing that you need a break from whatever is happening around you, and you are being very purposeful in doing a specific activity for the purpose of rejuvenation, relaxation, and restoration.
I love it. I love how you said it so eloquently. Sometimes I get angry because you say it so well, Trasetta. You make it just come out like it just came out of a Hallmark card. And I agree with you to the 1,000% power, the power of self-care and really defining it
Yeah,
around intention. Because
yeah,
sometimes we may have the good drive or the momentum, but the intention gets lost in the sauce somehow when we're wanting to put it into priority, when we want to actually put it into play. So let's talk about understanding the role. What does that mean? Defining, we already know what we kind of understand in a level where it may be described individually. And I gave you some examples of what that may be, but let's talk about it on a practical side. What ways we can actually incorporate this? Sometimes I even think self-care, we was talking about it behind the scene where it involves certain things, maybe fear factor involved, like, wow, self-care, but what if I spend too much time and people might think of me certain ways? Well, why she always got to be doing self-care, why he decides to do self-care, and then it may create some sort of fear levels of, maybe you're wanting to not spend too much time because maybe that time
yeah.
could be allocated to serving others. But it's not. Sometimes you gotta be, I think I think Trisetta, you said it so well in a previous episode where it's more than just selfish. And
Self-full.
comment? Self-full.
Yes, it's about being
Yes.
self-full. And so not only do we have like the fear of kind of judgment around self-care, but then
Yes.
there's also the fear of like there's guilt, right? We have guilt that
Oh my gosh.
we
Yeah.
can't fully engross ourselves into whatever the self-care practice is because we
Yeah.
have this emotional guilt. And we've got all these different thoughts racing through our mind about, well, I should be doing this instead, or I should be,
Right.
I don't want to take away too much time from building my business or pursuing my career goals or my family or my spouse, my significant other. Like
Yes.
we start to experience all this guilt around taking time for self. And one of the things that, and I think what you're referring to is in a previous episode where I talked about how self-care is not selfish, it's being self-full. When you take the time to fill yourself up first, then you are fully cared for and you are fulfilled. Therefore,
Oh,
you
yes.
are better able to show up for everyone else as the best version of yourself because you have
Yes.
taken care of you first. But when you take self-care from the perspective of I will take care of everyone else first and then take care of me, then you are operating from a place of a deficit. So like think about
Ooh,
having you remember
that's
think
good.
remember the like the old fashioned like teacups with the little saucer, right?
Come on.
If you
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
that, right? And I wish I had
Yes.
one of mine because I love tea. So I have several little tea sets. But if you have a saucer and you've got your teacup, think about it this way. When you practice self-care, you are pouring into the teacup, right? And the more you pour into the teacup, you get to the place where the teacup starts to overflow. If you take care of yourself appropriately, you start to overflow. And the saucer catches the overflow,
Ooh,
right?
I love
And
it.
it is from the overflow, it's from the saucer that you give to everyone else. You pour into everyone else because you are constantly being refilled and you're not depleting you. You are giving out of your excess, not out of your own portion.
So now you really got me to despising you now with that metaphor because I would just milk on that just a little bit because the fact that you are sharing something that a lot of people and I'm sure you all are probably having a party or a tea party inside of the comments right now in terms of I want to be filled up. I want to fill myself up. How do you create that time? How do you create a
Yes.
space? What does that space look like? It could be even a mental space. It could be maybe a physical space where you're now, when I talked about maybe changing your eating habits, changing how you think, changing how you feel, just shifting your whole paradigm. So, how do you want them to basically start creating that self full mindset so that they
Yeah,
can get that overflow of that tea? Ooh, yes, tell me. I think that's the part that we want to unfold because fear comes in
absolutely.
and start to disrupt people's way of thinking and feeling like, nah, you don't want to do that. Why would you want to do that's going to be putting yourself to be in some sort of panel or some sort of pedestal, as though you're just thinking about you, as though you're your own idol, per se. Versus
Mm,
when did that become a new normal? Why is it that it's so important for you to have self care? So let's start creating a space. What is the guidance on that? How can one be able to develop a personalized self care plan that does incorporate them being all about them, but at the same time, getting that teacup overflow of that saucer metaphor that you just shared?
yeah. I think the one thing about us, we're always going to leave you with some practical strategies, right? We're not going to just kind of share information with you. We're going to give you the tools that you need in order to take the information and then implement it, take action on it, right? So today we have three different steps, three strategies, very practical steps that you can take to start to prioritize self-care in your own life. The very first one is step one is to identify what your own personal self-care needs are, right? One of my dear friends,
I like that.
um, she always says that your level of self-care must match or exceed your level of stress, right? So you know what your level of stress is. And so you've got to spend time reflecting and identifying what your own unique self-care needs are, right? And it's important for you to start to recognize what the signs and symptoms are for you as an individual that signify burnout or extreme levels of stress, right? So if you can recognize the symptoms early, then you can start to implement your self-care strategies that are going to help you to stave off
I like
burnout
that.
and
And do you
avoid
think they can
stress.
do this alone, or do they may need to involve somebody? Because sometimes it may be
Typically,
hard for them. I don't
yeah,
know.
typically you can do it yourself. Honestly, we know when we don't feel good, right? Like we know now sometimes we may not recognize like attitudinally, right? Somebody else may need to tell
Yeah.
us that, hey, you need to go eat a Snicker, right? Because
Right,
you're,
that
'cause you're
part,
a
like,
little,
you gotta
'cause
get
you're a little
reminded, I
snappy,
like, "Oh, really? I didn't eat today," and I maybe become someone else that was not
right?
serving me at the moment or time, right?
Right. You might get a little
Mm,
snappy, right?
yes.
But for the most part, you can generally tell when you don't feel yourself, maybe you feel a little, your muscles feel a little tight, or maybe you get a little headache or you're fatigued. Um, Everyone has kind of their own symptoms, right? So first identify what your signs and symptoms are of burnout so that you can start to do self-care act into the so that you can start to implement self-care practices, also figure out what your own self-care needs are. Like, what are the things that actually cause you to rest, rejuvenate, relax, restore, and renew, refresh, all of those things, all the re's, right? The second one is to create a personalized self-care plan, right? So
Yeah.
this may look like actually creating a date with yourself, right? For me,
Ooh.
I don't know if
I
I've
don't know
ever
how
shared
many
this
of
before.
y'all feel about that in the comments. When the last time you actually date yourself? When was the last time you actually gave something
Listen.
pleasing to you versus being people pleasing? But what about
Mm,
self pleasing? Yes.
yes. So one of the things that I do is I have a self-care date night. And so on Tuesday evenings, I didn't do it last night, admittedly, but typically every Tuesday night, I do an aromatherapy bath, I do a mud mask, and I turn the lights down, light a candle, and I
Oh
get in the
Lord.
tub and I soak and I put my smooth jazz on or
Yes.
some 90s R&B and I just
Oh, that
relax,
sounds lovely. Yes.
right? And that
Absolutely.
is part of that's just one of the things that I do for my own self-care. You can see I've got flowers. They're starting to die over here, but I buy myself flowers every week because I like to have beautiful living things. Of course, don't come at me about flowers die as soon as you cut them. No, but they're
No.
beautiful and I like it,
No, I
right?
see
And
where you're
I'm worth
going with
it, right?
that.
So it
Yep.
makes me feel special. It makes me feel important and filled up to have those flowers around me. So
Yes.
there's all different kinds of things that you can do, but the key here is to make it non-negotiable. Put it on your calendar.
Oh
Allocate the
my
time.
gosh.
Set
Yes, that's the
boundaries
thing.
around that. Right?
That
Set
part.
boundaries around that time. Your one thing that
Yes.
you could do to incorporate self-care activities into just kind of your daily routine could be to get up 10 minutes earlier so you can sit and enjoy your cup of coffee before you go to work. And instead of having to put it in a to-go mug and drinking it in the
Right.
car on your way,
You didn't
sit
even get to
down.
catch the flavor. You might have had
Yes.
pumpkin spice because we're in the pumpkin spice season, and
Yeah.
by the time you guzzled it all down, you don't even know what flavor it was at that
Right.
point.
You don't like
You
enjoy it,
enjoy it.
savor it. One of the things that someone a coach encouraged me to do, a coach encouraged me years ago to do was to create a ritual around my tea time. So I bought a
Oh
teapot, like one
wow.
of the ceramic teapots. And so I'll boil water, put the hot water in the teapot and make my tea. And I pour it into my little fancy teacups and I sit and just relax and sip my tea like I'm having high tea with the queen, right? It, it's not,
Yes.
it's not you don't have to spend goo gobs of money going to the spa to get
No,
massages or
I see your concept. We're
right
wanting to basically,
little
yes,
things.
that's yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah,
How
do
many of
little
you are
things.
resonating with this? Let us know in the comments that this is something that you're gonna now want to implement. And it doesn't mean you got to break the bank. It's just more so being, and you may feel like if you're in position to do so without having to maybe tilt the plate over. But
Yeah,
what Trasetta is basically putting into view here is where do you want to prioritize it? How do you want to plan it? And be intentional about it. And I
yes,
love the fact that you was adding that in more of a scenario practice with your burial of tea and really demonstrating that as a therapeutic way in your self-care. Trisetta,
yeah, and it's just something
that's mystical.
small, right? it
Yeah, I
doesn't
like
it
that.
doesn't have to be big things. And the last step would be to focus on doing self-care practices that incorporate all aspects of your well-being, right? Self-care is not just physical self-care, right?
Oh,
That's what we
come through
typically
right
think
there.
of.
Yes,
Right?
that's
We're not just
important.
talking about physical self-care, the sleep and exercise and nutrition and vacations and whatnot. We're talking about emotional self-care, right? Doing things like
Yes.
mindfulness practices and journaling, like we talk about all the time. Social
Yes.
self-care, right? Maintaining relationships
Oh my
with
gosh.
your friends and your loved ones, right?
How many of y'all
And
feel
then,
guilty that you haven't maybe got in touch with a very close relative or a close peer or friend, and then you sit back and like, oh my gosh, I really need to get connected more. Let us know that this is something that you're going to take action. You're
yep,
wanting to get that humanly connection and be part of that synergy again, that circle of love and appreciation, that spiritual connection too. Yes, let's talk about
yeah.
spiritual.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Spiritual self-care. So whatever that may look like for you, for Ruth and I, both of us are Christians. So that may look like spending time reading the Bible. It may look like time in prayer. It may look like worship, listening to worship music or singing, whatever your spiritual practice is, incorporating that. Also mental self-care, right? That may look like talking to a therapist or doing some sort of activity to um, build up your mental resilience and stamina. We've been talking about resilience, as well as intellectual self-care. So doing some sort of learning activity, right? I'm learning Spanish using Duolingo, and I spend 5 to 10 minutes every day learning Spanish, right? Or read a book. Spend 5 to 15 minutes
love
reading
that
a
you're
book every
saying
day,
that.
right? So
Yes.
look at your self-care from a holistic standpoint, it's not just spa days and vacations, right? There is a whole host of activities that you can do to build up yourself so that you are holistically taking care of you.
That is amazing. Well said, my friend.
Yeah.
How many of you are going to let us know, add some fires, let us know that you are going to go ahead and hold your hand to the fire and basically start prioritizing now that you know how to define it, how to really fully understand self care, how to even add some strategy around it and add some, what ways you can create a space and environment so that you can involve more of you and then parse it, slice a pie out your calendar for self where
Yes.
even if it's 15 minutes a day, if it's maybe 15 minutes, I don't care. Some people take a full day, some people take a week, a mental health day, whatever it matters is just be consistent with it. Don't just do it one time and then you find yourself right back in burnout or right back into stress, going down into that rabbit hole of, oh my gosh, I was loving and I loved it, but now you're being pulled into many ways. We want to help you self-care this as a practice, as a ritual that Trasetta just mentioned. You want to make it to where it's a practice. It's outside of just physical, your nutrients of your body, but also other areas when it comes to spirituality and being mindful and being present with you,
Yes.
because that's important. So let us know if this has definitely been resonating with you as we wrap up and close out. Yes, close it out. The Q3, Lord, Lord, Lord. I'm really excited how we're gonna listen. If you've been riding with us this time, you're gonna want to continue to ride with us until the wheels fall off, until we enter into 2024. We got so much to just unleash. Yes, because it would be a disservice to you all if we put all this overflow that Tracetta was talking about with the tea and not go back and charge up. We too individually do believe in self care and going back to charge up, whether it be even in learning, whether it be spiritual, whether it just be giving ourselves grace and permission to just unplug so that we can come back and become and then overflow back to you all. Is that all right? Is that all right? Awesome, awesome. Well, listen, it's been a joy. Stay with us. If you're not following us, go ahead and subscribe. Continue to help us disrupt the algorithm by raising of the awareness of breaking boundaries. Go back and even you may even want to go back and check out our previous podcasts and see what resonates with you when it comes to, oh my God, we talked about so much already in the last 3 quarters, right, Tracetta? We talked
Absolutely.
confidence. We talked about mind matters. What else?
Money. We talked about our money mindset,
Money mindset. You go into our library is what we're
using
getting.
our voice. We've talked about
Leveraging
a
our
lot.
voice.
Yes.
Yes. All of that. So go into our YouTube and definitely go because we would love for you all to stay connected so you can hit the subscribe button and get reminded when our uh episodes are leashed out. I'm excited. We're gonna go ahead and let you have your day. It's been amazing. Trisetta, you've always come through with letting us know how to be able to just do that self-care and prioritizing it because that's what you do. You're
Yes.
the productivity queen.
Yes.
Let us know in the comments that you are now wanting to unleash your brilliance and be able to help breaking some of these boundaries because breaking boundaries is definitely going to be the epiphany of your next chapter.
Yes.
Next
And
time.
join us tomorrow. Get your ticket.
Okay, That's how we do it. Yes. We definitely want you back in the room. We definitely want you in
Yes.
the room. This is our, like I said, we may not do this again. And I'm almost certain that you definitely want to know how it is. We are here. It's nowhere, it's going to be 10 times even on a different level when we're
Yeah.
inside the room live
Yes.
together. So really looking forward to it and really love to see you there as well. And you can bring a plus one. Don't make it to where you just bring yourself. Bring someone that you know who
Yes.
is
Bring a
going to
friend.
get to unleash their brilliance. And so we can help maximize some of these action steps for the next remaining part of the year. Well, unless you have anything else to share, I think
Nope.
we're all good. Well, until next time, my friends, have an amazing
Take care.
day.
Join and subscribe with career strategist Ruth McCrackin and business strategist Trasetta Washington to the Breaking Boundaries podcast each week. You too can experience the limitless potential of rewriting rules and creating an extraordinary future for yourself.